policy and how policies can work for people. So I just want to increase the conversation to where it's supposed to be, serving the people. And that's all what all politics is supposed to be, serving people.
Yeah, yeah.
And the reality is that we have a lot in our country to grow in terms of
A lot of opportunities, yeah.
we're barely scratching the surface.
Yeah.
I think as a people we need to start putting the real ideas on the table instead of looking how I can tear you down and how I can uplift myself. Maybe we should start thinking about how we come together and uplift the entire country.
Listen, that's something I've always said in my lifetime. I have never seen in our politics folks crossing the floor on policies.
Yeah.
And once once you're not seeing that,
Yeah.
you know that we're just using a small percentage of the human resource of our country.
Yeah.
But that's also silly. That's all. It's also silly how we approach things along, I would call it, color lines.
Mm-hmm.
Because in many cases, there's no real ideological difference, like significant. Right? In many cases, we're saying the same thing. We just don't want to cooperate.
It's not don't want.
Maybe we don't know how.
We don't know how, but in Grenada, that is the devil take the hand. The winner.
Yeah, it's black or
everything.
white. There's no shades of gray.
You win.
or pink.
You win in the elections. You just
Take off.
Take off. You listen to no one and so on. And your ex-leader, right, was an architect of that. And I just thought he missed it big time. He missed it. 15-0 and he laughed and he smiled and he think it's funny. He thinks that helps Grenada.
But I think politics.
And it's just really sad.
I want to refresh the mandate. I think the mandate, because to be honest, I never saw myself as a politician. I never wanted to be in politics. I kind of went against my parents to go into politics. Like, I disappointed them a bit going into politics. So when I say I really went in it because I felt deeply hurt that we were not as, it's only so much time a man can take a risk in his life. And I felt I needed to take a risk for my country. Because the reality is that I just wanted to be able to stand loud and proud and say I challenge the system and the way we think about the system. And the system has not been serving us in the right way. To be honest, whether or not you believe on either side of the political spectrum, you yourself are a discerning, logical person. You want to see the ideas that have the most benefit for the country and the people. That's generally bipartisan, right down the line. Everybody wants to see each other do well. Grenadians are not like crab and barrel people where we want to tear down the country and our people. We all want to do well. The difference is that the world has changed underneath us. And the country is still operating on a colonial mindset. And the world is different. Even how young people view participatory work is different. Like, they don't want a salary anymore. They want equity. Why would I spend 30 years working for you? All you send me home is a plaque and say thank you and a pensionable income that due to inflation will get smaller and smaller over time. They want to know, if I sacrifice to build this business, can I get a part of it? Can I get payments in 5% in shares? And maybe when I'm close to retirement, I have 15% of the company is selling out for millions, that I help grow this business, or I stay part of the company and feel function throughout my lifetime. The conversations we need to talk about in terms of how we invigorate people to get back in the economy. You got to start talking about not just about a tax system that just is once all sweep all. I get it's simple, it's easy for bureaucracy, but come on, there's things in Scandinavia where they're experimenting with giving. You don't have a stock market. Like say you have your kids in this America, they can get a little thing on their phone and start trading stocks as soon as they're old enough. Kids in Grenada can save all their hard work and put it in a bank and only get and losing money on their hard savings because there's no way to invest the money. How are we telling, like, not creating policies that make investment easier for Grenadians? Like, how can I say my 3 friends, bro, let's put in 20,000 and let's create a little, like, we buy some houses and develop them and flip it And because that's what, we don't have a stock market. We have to go into small business
Yeah, exactly.
to make the thing. And you're business people, so
Yeah,
you know
yeah,
the equity in terms of the toil. But policies, I believe, I'm a capitalist. Not like, I believe in hard work. So I believe,
You are a capitalist.
yes, I believe in hard work.
There's conscience in capitalism.
Yeah, no, but I agree. But you have to, government's supposed to check capitalism. That's supposed to be the balance of the system.
Yeah.
You're supposed to like marry the people to the profits
Right.
in the best way you can.
Right.
And I'm just saying, incentivize good behavior, de-incentivize bad behavior.
Right.
Open
But
up the
I'm
lanes.
saying to you short of the regulations in Grenada or the absence of it, you as an individual, I mean that invests, right? You have a conscience, and that conscience can lead you to make good decision for your workers, for your family, and so on. And that's where I'm coming.
Yeah,
That there
yeah.
is conscience in capital.
Yeah. But most of that comes from, I would say, the family nature of business. Because most businesses you see in America, sometimes it gets the family business, it goes corporate, and then the soul of the business is
Yes.
lost, right? I think sometimes as a country, we have to get back to our soul of the thing, which is community. Community, because I have as much NDC family as any other person in Grenada. It's split down the middle. I don't see party lines like the way people see party lines. I see Grenadians. At the end of the day, whether I walk down whether I support a political party or what or not, I still live in this country. I still see my Grenadians as my fellow neighbors.
So what made you choose that?
I was just about to ask him
Huh?
that.
I didn't really say I chose. Eventually I had to choose, and it obviously it blended to me in terms of like what I believe in and what I wanted out of my political career. And I believed a lot in the person who got me to the position, like Emily Pierre. She kind of like pulled me along. I didn't really want, as I said, I came kicking and screaming, but being there, she is one who kind of like believed in me, enhanced it. Like, if I always say, we only can find good leaders if you recruit them. And they're not going to run, the good people in politics, not going to run to politics. You have to find people who don't want to come to politics.
So
and
when
pull them
did
in
you
there.
join the party? How long ago?
We about over a year.
Over a year ago. Okay, if you suspend that and you had to today, would you have made the same decision?
You know what?
From a year ago to now, if you were asked to make that
Yeah.
decision today.
See, I've already up it 100 times. I've learned, okay, as a young person, I'm not coming from like, I don't want to be like some tool to say, oh, I'm a sticker reason, oh, there's youth in a party, because he's there, like he's a youthful little face. No. I want equity, just like every young person. I want to make the decisions that help benefit. I have to go in the country too and listen to my other peers and say, bro, you're going to politics and you know nothing? I don't want that to ever be said about me. I want to be able, the things I believe in can be put on the table. I can put stuff on the table in where I am, and it will be listened to. And the thing about it, no matter what, my party has been in government for a long time, but they have a lot of technocratic experience around them. Economists, functionaries who help bolster, take my idea and say, well, yeah, you're wrong here, this way, this could go, but you have to do that. And like, for a young person, that is not like discouraging, that is more encouraging, because I feel more equity in my country right now. So yeah, I just want to be able to put the best ideas on the table, and if the people love it, people love it. And if they don't,
And it might not always, the objective of translating into winning, winning at the polls. But the idea, this also can take root even if you win or lose at the poll.
that what? But the thing about it is that, end of the day, I'll be honest with you, Canadians. Canadians are they're not stupid voters, they're very savvy voters. Very savvy voters. And people underestimate Canadians' intellect in terms of understanding people and politics. When that time comes, they would look at their leaders as a person they can look up and say, he would have an idea to get me out of a jam. When we're back down in a corner and as a country, can there be a creative solution? And when you look at your leaders today, you have to ask yourself, if we're back in our country and that is the leader, can he come up with a creative solution to get us up? And that is something we don't ask much about our leaders. Intellectual activism, being able to use the internet for the better of all people. And that is something we need to start thinking about. So I'm not looking, I'm giving myself the same respect. I have always, I've blamed my leaders and say, come with stupidness. They're like, I'm a Grenadian. I know the Prime Minister. I know a lot of people who come here. I expected more. I wanted more. As much as you say, you can't come in on an agenda and say transform and there's nothing transformative. If I could tell you 5 ideas right now that would blow in every part of the thing, in policy ideas, that is no one is touching right now, that would make massive gain in terms of what the people would want. But that's the thing. Are there people sitting down, our leaders sitting down creatively thinking about the solutions? For a young person like myself, 35, how much young people home or now cannot leave home and build their own house if they're not gifted a property by their parents or they're not gifted a piece of land by their aunt? It is almost, Grenadians are getting locked out of our own economy in front of our eyes.
But that is not just now, that developed over time.
And I'm telling you, as a young person who's feeling it, I want to say, I'm jumping in to say, let's do something about it because it's hurting me. Because remember, all the generations already have their houses, had their mortgages paid off. These things are not as important to them. They're not building wealth now. I'm building wealth now. My generation is trying to get our first home. Why are we not talking about creative tactics? Why are we not creating creative wealth building strategies? Like, these things may not be passionate to someone who has 2 children and a home and a mortgage already. But for someone who has nothing, I want to create a pathway for the younger ones to start staying in Grenada and building wealth home.
Aren't there opportunities now being created?
I agree, there's opportunities. Most of it is in the
Because
construction sector.
You said, what
But
about technology?
What technology sectors have grown? You have to ask yourself, like, have we created our own Silicon Park, or we created a tax incentive where people who started these business, creative industry is not all technology.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Right, right.
You got in some concessions to bring in some equipment, some cameras and stuff, but how has that really affected our GDP, really? The 3 drivers of GDP are what?
Well, actually, is the human resource is education.
That's not
right.
the driver of GDP.
Well, it's without
It's
that.
SU, tourism,
You're talking about
the drivers of the country's economy. The fuel, the arteries.
You're talking about in Grenada. What drives it?
What drives the economy? No. Human resource, that's
right.
a factor of the economy.
Right.
But like what pushes the economy, that pedals the economy,
SU,
is tourism, SU, and the government. That's the 3 pillars of the economy.
And where does agriculture fall now?
Agriculture falls down 4th or 5th place.
And that's not good.
Because we import more than we grow.
So I think we're missing a fundamental point. I totally hear what you say and understand what you say, but we have to start from a young age in the school. Have to start to educate those, to give them that mindset. No matter what the government do, whichever government, if they don't have that mindset and that education, right? We ain't going nowhere. So that's where we have to start.
I'm born, grown, and educated in Grenada, and I'm now saying this. So am I not testament to exactly what you're saying?
But I'm talking about like a...
No, you're talking about the change. The change is all around. Now, have the ability to look on YouTube and Instagram and TikTok, creatively inspired than any other generation.
Yeah.
You know, the kids now have more at their fingertips than any other generation.
But that's true.
So it's how we creatively use that and have them to, as I said when I talked to someone, we need to create a system of active failure where kids are allowed to start businesses at a young age, start learning about how old do kids start working or earning money in America?
14.
14. They can go get a part-time job. They can think, why we don't have that in Grenada? Why don't we have that a co-op system where kids go in the working world at a young age? Maybe just coming after school 2 hours instead of like kill the homework system. Kill that from schools. No homework for children. Allow that whatever happens in the curriculum happens during the day. When kids leave for school, allow them to experience life.
I don't totally
And are you
agree with you.
suggesting that this has to be driven by the government?
I don't think that's driven by the government. I think that has to be driven by conversation.
Yeah.
And we also have to now drive the conversation into policy. And then policy is what the government takes to now present to the people. So that's what I'm saying. The conversation needs to change.
Right, and I'm arguing also that we the people can play a significant role in driving the conversation in that arena. A lot of what takes place nowadays in terms of commerce, in terms of, young people getting involved in commerce is taking place in the private sector. Parents are teaching their children to trade. Parents are giving opportunities to their children to learn, excuse me, different strategies to generate income. We also have a lot of people in civil society, not-for-profits, teaching children cybersecurity.
Yeah.
They're teaching MAI.
Yeah.
Very, very young children nowadays are using AI to generate wealth. So I'm saying that the conversation doesn't even have to be started or propelled by the government. We, the people, need to, even now, before you become a minister, with the knowledge that you have, you can use that knowledge to strengthen communities. Start an after-school program.
I agree.
Start an extracurricular program in a college, at times it's
I have an idea that's been like tossing around my mind for a while, right? I'm watching my father, retired now. And my dad is probably like my treasure trove of like experience that tell me in terms of policy, this. And I thought when I was like in the community, how much kids don't have that ability, sound and board, to talk these things through, right? To tell you, nah, that's not gonna work. This is a reality. This. Someone took architecture thinking, right? And I look at a generation, his generation, who is now double taxed in retirement, meaning that after they finish their working world, whatever taxable income they still receive a pension, they still get taxed, right? And a non-401k, they're not attached to the market, so they obviously would have lower income. I'm thinking, as a policy, and as it comes from a governmental point, that you should make as a pilot program for 150 to 200 retired persons, Grenadian professionals, from PSs, from doctors to everything, all online, tax-free for a 2-year pilot program to go to every school for 2 days a week in secondary schools, rotate the secondary schools, to do advising and not counseling, but more mentoring. Inspire the generation to say how I did it, how I made it in Grenada. If this might be a career path for you, they may see themselves in that older Grenadian, and they may not be inspired by their parents, but they want to be that guy. And I think as a policy, we need to start saying how we inspire and build our own people, because we have our own way. We're not encouraging our own people to build wealth. They love to say, man, how lot of money, but one man told me is like, when you build wealth in Grenada, you hide it because you're afraid of the 10, 20 people who constantly ask you for money. We don't think like in America, you glorify and you build success and you say, man, that man is doing it, I need to up my game. Success is a driver, and you congratulate and applaud someone who's successful. We need to do that for our own people. allow our people to start seeing our people as successes. So people like my father and the other retired generations coming up, they shouldn't just go home and just sit at home and watch TV and just be inactive citizens.
Right.
I want to take the tax freeness as your income, because the government can't pay you.
Right.
But volunteer that time to inspire the next generation. Huge benefit. Huge benefit. These things are just like things, but has a big granular effect.
Yeah, and quite rightly so. So as you have in Grenada, folks retiring at 60 years old. I mean, really young, man. You know,
So much left to
energetic
offer.
and so much left to offer, and so on. So I think that's a brilliant idea.
And that's something like, that's what I'm saying, like these are, as I said, these are pilots. You're gonna say run it across the board and make a lawyer. Just take 200 professionals that you say, sign up. We have this program. You're going completely tax free for a while in the program. We want you to volunteer your time for 2 days a week.
But isn't that already available?
Where?
Isn't the opportunity there?
Opportunity of becoming tax free?
Uh-huh. So, for instance, there are programs where retirees have formed non-profits.
Yes, a non-profit, but remember, they still have to now generate that. That is an aspect that's still there. Having a non-profit, I can create a non-profit, get some friends of mine to donate, and they still, in our tax code, they're not getting write-offs like in America for giving that as a taxable payment. You know that. That's their taxable tax income already that going more, and they're not getting that back at all. So yes, they were giving that money, but they would get no return. I'm saying these are professionals. I'm not a person who believes people who have valuable time, who could be spent consulting, doing other types of things and getting their income, would take their time to volunteer that back to the country. I think there should be something like an incentive program for that.
Gotcha.
That's what I'm saying. I want to incentivize good behavior, de-incentivize bad behavior. That's all.
Can I ask you a question? What sort of underpins your ideological perspectives?
I would say I'm a fiscal conservative, I'm a libertarian in certain aspects, and I am a capitalist. I believe in free market systems. I believe in people fighting and the best business win and the best idea win and the best people win. But I think that's how we advance as a society and we advance as a people. But I believe that should be tempered against good governance, because I do believe the all profit metric, where we just profit, could sometimes be the ruin of us.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to temper that down to the people aspect. And they always should have a kind of cohesion between that policy to the private sector link. So I would say those were the underpins of the basis of my political ideology. But like I would say, like, I believe in people being free, happy, and economically sustainable. I don't want to be in a situation where I'm the only one who could buy drinks in a bar for my friends. I want all my friends to be okay. Because in that way, we as a people, and you say we go to carnival together, everything is up. When the tide rises, all boats rise. And that's what I'm saying, like, I have family who's on the other side of the political fan. I love them nonetheless. Like, we all have a different path to this. We try to the same goal. The same goal is still advancement of our people.
And I think that's a good place to end it. Here we have people from different aspects of the spectrum, or different sides of the spectrum, and here they can sit together and have a very cordial conversation and discuss real issues. So I want to thank all the people here today who partake in this, and this is the sort of discussion we need to be having, instead of the divisiveness and instead of the back and forth and the partisan politics. I think this will definitely propel Grenada forward, and I look forward to some more of this sort of conversation. To you.
I agree, Barry. I've been advocating for that for the longest while. I think that the color divisions doesn't really help us much. And even when we have differences, ideological differences, I think that by listening to each other, by engaging, we all are better off in the long run. We
Amen.
learn from each other.
Amen.
Yeah, and I think that that's the example that we need to set to our younger folks, because that's where you really can use all the ideas, all the human resources that's available to us, and bring them together to move the country.
Amen.
Well, I think it's healthy. When we have discussion like that, it propels us to grow, to develop, and what really should define us is a love for country.
Amen. And I'm going to give you the final word, Mr. DeAllie.
Man, I love to talk to my people, and just love this talking some ideas and being able to discuss calmly and openly is refreshing sometimes,
Absolutely.
We could be both on different sides of the coin but still love our country, and I just glad we had that discussion. We all are some amazing people, so thank you for talking.
You're welcome, sir. Well, this is another episode of Hanovi Global Network, and there you have it. I hope you enjoy. Look forward to a lot more of this sort of discussion.